Hello, everybody, and welcome in to an episode of the Penny Bloom podcast. 121, 122, something like that. One or the other.
Somewhere around there, you know.
It's over 120 though, which is a plenty.
That is a plenty.
We recently had our 50th episode of 2021 out of 120 total, so we've really been on the grind in this past calendar year.
Oh yeah.
WandaVision, The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Loki just wrapped up.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking Bad Batch now.
I gotta watch Loki. I still haven't.
Well, because you're gonna have to.
Yeah, that's what it's seeming like.
No, like you're gonna have to. Like they're not shying away from the whole. You're gonna need to pay money to get Disney Plus and watch these series to understand the movies.
That's fucked up, though. That's fucked up.
Yeah, that's an exploitation for sure.
Because it's like, well, I get it, but like, it's
just like I'm Colton Robertson, and this is Tavarus Pennington. Continue.
Oh yeah. That just like I feel like makes it seem like Marvel has a monopoly on like entertainment to a certain level. Like they're just like, yeah, you like it's required. It's all your childhood shit. We're putting it all in one place. Everything that you'll ever want. If you don't want it, you want to keep up with the stories, you gotta get it.
And see, that's my thing is that like I'm cool with paying for Disney Plus because like they have all the Star Wars shit and all the Marvel shit. All the new Star Wars shit will go there. All the new Marvel shit
obviously
will go there.
They have a crazy catalog.
That's all I need. And then like all the Pixar shit that they sprinkle in every once in a while.
Well, I guess it's not. I guess it's not Marvel doing the thing. It's just Disney doing.
Disney has a monopoly.
It's Disney doing what it does. It does have a monopoly. This is the same thing with fucking like Disney, the Disney parks and shit. I feel like the experience they create. They're like, you don't know Disney until you come to Space Mountain. Like you don't know. Like you're out of the loop. Sorry.
Speaking of space.
Speaking of space,
one very rich man, Jeffrey Bezos, made his way into space the other day.
Yeah, they said he went to the edge of space,
suborbital flight,
just beyond Earth's atmosphere.
Yeah, suborbital. Suborbital. Sounds like a Star Wars character. Suborbital.
Suborbital.
It
does.
He's in space. He's on his way back, apparently.
Oh, he's there right now.
He's there right now. In the moment, he's.
How long was he in space?
I didn't know if he was there right
now. Is time different in space?
I don't know how different the passage of time is. Once you get out of the atmosphere and enter suborbital.
Suborbital.
But Jeff Bezos and crew returned to Earth after a historic suborbital flight. So that was earlier today that they came.
So they went up this morning, came back this afternoon.
I'm guessing
they had a lunch date up in suborbit.
Yeah, they were like, we're going to go suborbital and then we'll be right back down.
They have to pay taxes there. And they pay taxes in suborbit.
Do you think they were like, re-entry fee?
Re-entry fee. Yeah, the toll, this is the I don't even know what you would call it. Intercontinental...
Interplanetary
tax. Interplanetary tax, yeah. Sounds like some Rick and Morty shit.
Well, speaking of Rick and Morty, that's what we're going to be talking today. Obviously, we talked the first 2 episodes a few weeks back.
Yeah.
It was a great deal of fun. We did episode 1 as it came out, episode 2 as it came out. Then episode 3 came out, we were unable to link. Episode 4 came out, we were again unable to link. And then episode 5 came out, and you know what? Now we're ready. Now we're ready, so we're going to talk episodes 3, 4, and 5 today. That is a Rick Convenient Mort, Rick Dependence Spray, and a Mortykin Graffiti. So I'm looking forward to it.
That last one was called a Mortykin Graffiti.
I can tell you more on that later. I can tell you exactly what that's in reference to.
Okay.
And then we're also going to talk Vince Staples' new release, self-titled album, Vince Staples. It's...
said to be his most personal album.
It sounds very, very good.
Mm-hmm.
Very good. More on that later as well. You've been watching anything lately?
What have I been watching? We've been rewatching Game of Thrones.
Yeah, how's that going?
Good, pretty good. You get Game of Thrones out though sometimes. Like you
Certainly.
watch so much of it.
You watch a few episodes and you're like, all right, I need a break for a few days.
Yeah, this has been a lot. But no, I've just been. I don't know what I've been watching really. Not much.
Yeah,
they're kind of going.
Me and Emily, you know, we're also making the trek through Game of Thrones. We're on season 7 now.
Oh shit, y'all.
Yeah, we've been on that grind. Yeah, we're almost done now. Less than 10 episodes left.
Shit.
Which is crazy to think about because we got episode 4 of season 7, 5, 6, 7, and then the 6th and the next one. So 10 episodes left.
Damn.
Yeah.
There's only 6 episodes in season 8.
Yeah.
I can't believe they did that.
They were like, let's get the fuck out of here, man.
6. They're like, 8? No. 7? No.
Yeah, they did
6?
7. They did 7 in season 7.
Yes, I was thinking 5, but
they hit 7. They hit 7 episodes in season 7, and they were like, let's just bring that down.
Yeah, right. They were like, we have been on our way out since halfway through season 4.
Yeah, and like on this rewatch, I'm just realizing like it really feels like a different show. Like when you get to season, I mean, like not completely, but like the storylines are all merging to come together. You know, like that's when everything starts happening, and you're like, wow, this feels brand new compared to.
I remember like having a sensation like that around that point where you're just like, Game of Thrones is something that was the seasons, like the first 4 seasons.
Yeah.
4 or 5 seasons. And then after that, it just kind of got to a point where things had developed so much that you were like, well, it's just a different phase of everyone's life. Like, none of these characters are who I met them as. No,
they're not. And spoilers for Game of Thrones here. If you want to skip ahead a couple minutes, I'm gonna talk about something real quick. 3, 2, 1. So we got the reveal for Emily here that Jon isn't Ned's son. That he is Lyanna's son. However, she still doesn't know who the daddy is. So now, well, when she learned that, she was like, well, that's cool. I like Ned now a lot more than I did, because she was really like, fuck that guy for cheating. But then she found out he didn't cheat. Right. So that's huge. But now she just thinks he's a bastard by Lyanna Stark. Not Ned Stark.
Yeah.
And so I'm like,
yeah.
She said some shit like, I feel like Jon Snow is going to be the king of the whole thing soon, and I was like, he probably should be.
He probably should. I don't want it.
I don't want it. I don't want it. It's not mine.
Jon fucking Snow.
I never want it. I never want it.
I missed that.
I'm king because you chose me.
Was Jon Snow king in the North?
King in the North.
He was?
Yeah, they declare him king in the North in the season 6 finale. And upon rewatch, the best episode of that show. Really?
That's what I'm remembering is like that's the era, like 5 to end of 7 is the seasons I like don't remember the most about, because by that point I was just like blitzing the show.
Yeah.
Like,
and what I'm realizing too on rewatch, the first time I watched the show, I loved Jon Snow all the way through.
Yeah.
At least I remembered loving him all the way through.
He's kind of boring in the beginning.
Oh, he's boring for 4 seasons.
Yeah, he's pretty boring.
And not boring, but like the reason he's not boring on rewatch is because you know what's coming. But on first watch, you're just kind of like, why do we keep coming to the Night's Watch here? And it's because this guy's going to be a fucking legend.
Yeah, right.
And they really develop that seasons 5 and 6.
Yeah.
That's it. And then they're like, season 7, this guy's king in the North. Fucking deal with it.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly. It's pretty dope. It gets so good in those, like, people, like, I think most people kind of talk shit on season 6 and 7. Those are some of my favorite seasons, though.
Season 6, that's my favorite season for sure. Battle of the Bastards, Winds of Winter, where Cersei blows up the Sept. Jon gets named king in the North. Daenerys is officially ready to head across to Essos. She gets all the Dothraki on her side after killing all the Khal and all his blood riders and shit. Like, it's a pretty epic season.
Those are a lot of major events. This has turned into a Game of Thrones podcast, though.
It is a Game of Thrones podcast. Our first episode was about Game of Thrones. This is
technically a Game of Thrones podcast.
Technically, if you go by what the first episode is about, then
this is a Game of Thrones podcast. We just haven't talked about it in like a year,
a while. It's been a minute. I finished season 5 of Sopranos.
Oh shit! Did you?
I did. I'm really trying ahead of that movie. Like, I'm gonna get it done.
The movie's not until October though, right?
Yeah, not until October. But like, the rate I'm going, it probably will be like right before October that I finish the show.
Oh, okay.
It's fucking good. Like,
yeah, no.
Season 5 reeled me all the way back in. Like, I'm like, oh fuck yeah, this is dope.
Yeah.
Everything's awesome. Shit's sad. You know, some like really it seems like out of nowhere shit happens in the last couple episodes, and you're like, oh, that developed quickly, but like it made sense.
Yeah,
you know, like it was like if it was gonna happen, it was gonna happen quickly. So you'll see when you get there, but it's exciting. It's exciting shit. It's exciting shit. So what do you say we jump into Rick and Morty?
I think it's about that time.
It's about that time. Let's roll the tape.
Welcome to the Penny Bloom Podcast. Ain't another place that has got more bombast. Romp past your mom, dads, listening to Tomcats. Talking everything that make you sad. We don't want that. We're here to make you smile. Put your mind at ease. Peace, love, and bloom, and always praise Keanu Reeves. This what we about. Get some weed in now. We'll talk until we can't no more, and then we peacing out. Alright, let's go. Penny Bloom Podcast. It's the Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast. It's the Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast.
Alright, so let's talk some Rick and Morty. We got Season 5, Episode 3, A Rick Convenient Mort. It was a solid one, you know?
It was a solid one.
It gets a little more real than you'd anticipate Rick and Morty typically getting. I mean, it gets real every now and then.
Every now and then, yeah.
But you never get the realness from Morty's perspective. It's always the realness in Rick's life, like how sad Rick is.
Right.
But Morty going through that the teenage.
Yeah, and this is kind of I wonder if they're gonna like treat Morty with more seniority in the seasons after this one, because like they already do that. Like from the time that Rick and Morty starts to now, like Morty is so much more adjusted to sort of like the life that Rick leads or has him lead.
Yeah, you know, like everything's much bigger than he'd previously known prior to Rick. Now he knows just how big everything is, and he's taking on a little bit of that fuck everything.
Yeah,
you know,
right. Like he's developing his personality based off of his knowledge of the universes.
And what he's also basing his the formation of his personality off of is like not being Rick though. Like, but regardless, when you know all the shit Rick does,
and
you do with all this shit with Rick, you're gonna fall into that.
You're gonna fall into that
a little bit of that fuck everything mentality. At least you'll kill 4 humans without thinking about
dash of nihilism. You know. Nothing matters in the grand scheme of things. But then it's like, you know, he's a teenager, so the things that people like generally accept don't matter to 14-year-old Morty. Is he still 14 in the continuity?
Yeah, he's 14.
I think he's just
He'll
14
never
to
age.
stay.
Yeah,
I think
like
that's
it's the cartoon thing, you know.
It's the cartoon thing. Right?
Simpsons have been the same. Like they've been the same age for 40 fucking years now, practically.
Yeah, which is kind of... I was thinking about that when we were watching it. I was like, what if someone tried to do like a form of Rick and Morty where they were like older?
Rick's geriatric and Morty's 25.
Yeah, right. And I was like, that just wouldn't even be funny. Like, I think Beth and... Or I think Summer and Morty are going to be like cool people in the imaginary space where they're older, but like that's not necessarily the imaginary space of Rick and Morty, and why that's enjoyable.
No, yeah, it's the their youthful hijinks is what brings us another element to the show.
Yeah.
Like their not naivety at this point because they've seen enough shit, but they've still got some of it left.
Yeah,
like you see in this episode, like Jerry, fuck, I cannot get it right. Morty falls hard.
Yeah, no, he does. What is cool about that though? I think what like you can do with, sort of like the dynamic of like or like how dynamic the characters are is like. Have you seen that? Did we watch that anime version of Rick and Morty thing together?
Oh, the like the samurai one.
No, there's a different one where Like it was like an anime. It was like an anime pilot of Rick and Morty.
I don't think I ever saw it.
Wait, we should watch that. It's like 7 minutes. We should watch that right now.
Watch it. Right, so we're back, and it was dope.
Yeah, so yeah, like that. That's like, you know, in summary, the point. I don't really remember it, but
you were talking about the characterization of of them.
Like it's a really like vast like land of possibilities what you could do with the characters of Rick and Morty, and it's like that also feeds into sort of the way that they normally make their seasons and their episodes, which is like this very I don't know, like
Rick could be an absolute fucking asshole in one episode, and then the next it'll show that he very clearly loves the people he's protecting.
Right, which then gives a bunch of credence, I think, to these like fan theories and things of that nature, where they're like, oh, well, this is what they're like, and it's like, well, it's never really set in stone. Like it changes up so often. Yeah, and that's really what these past 3 episodes do too.
They go all over the place, and especially in that one where Morty falls in love.
Mm-hmm.
What was her name?
What
was the?
I can't remember. It was an apple or.
I don't know. She protected the world.
Yeah.
With all the elements and all those rings and shit. Regardless, him falling in love with her and then, you know, telling his mom she's the only person who's ever understood him, everything he's ever said is, you know, eye rolled at, like nobody takes what he says seriously, and it's like you do see that quite a bit. And like, every once in a while they'll poke something through that's like, oh yeah, all the shit that Rick says to him gets to him. It's not just a character quirk of Rick's to be an asshole. Right. Morty also has feelings.
Exactly.
You know, like,
exactly.
That's part of the whole thing.
Yeah, and I think that's a good reason why Rick and Morty have such a tenuous relationship as they do.
Yeah,
Rick refuses to indulge those feelings, and Planetina
was her name. Yeah, you know, Morty isn't lower than attempting to kill Rick if it comes to it.
No.
As we've seen before. I think it was like season 3 or something. He shot Rick in the face, but it was part of Rick's plan, and he thought Morty read that it was part of the plan, but Morty was like, oh yeah, good thing I read that note.
Yeah, that's hilarious. Yeah, that was early on, too, in Rick and Morty.
Yeah, but I thought episode 3 was a really good one. I liked that they made Beth a little more loving to her kids instead of like more like Rick. Where he's a little cold and distant. It showed that she actually cares for Morty and like, looks out for his feelings generally. But it's also, you know, when you're a teenager. Sometimes you just react to things in ways that people can't really accommodate. You know, that seems like a really, really good segue into the next episode. Rick dependence spray, you know,
on a whole nother level.
When you get the teenagers who
Rick dependence spray.
Yeah, Rick
I'm
dependence
thinking about
spray.
the episode. And it's like
definitely this one's a play on Independence Day. I don't know a Rick convenient mort. It's an inconvenient something, right? Mm-hmm. I don't know what that is though. Like, I don't know what that would be. However,
I feel like they're pulling these names out of a hat. Like, honestly.
This one makes more sense. You know, you have the Doomsday aliens invading.
Oh,
Independence Day, Rick dependence spray. They just made it as grotesque as possible.
Yeah, which I just found it really funny about that episode. Like in the posts or in the inside the episode little special, nobody who they interviewed who worked on the episode like can really justify what the fuck transpired in that episode. They're just kind of like, yeah, it happened. We made it. We published it. It's out there in the world now. Our names are on it.
I found what a Rick convenient mort is, I think.
What's that?
It's dealing with an inconvenient truth about climate change. Planetina was combating climate change and all that in her murderous rages.
Okay.
An Inconvenient Truth is a documentary by Al Gore.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Oscar-winning
so
documentary about the environment featuring the unlikeliest movie stars, former presidential candidate Al Gore.
I've heard about that. This goes deep, huh? Their jokes are really
Oh yeah,
niche.
and I'll get to that with the next episode too, because that one's actually a really good title for the next one. But let's talk about Rick Dependent Spray a little bit more.
Do we have to?
Morty lets his urges get the best of him.
He does,
and he sticks his dick where it doesn't belong, and it nearly wipes out the planet.
Yeah. And that's just how things go in Rick and Morty.
Talk about the ultimate post-nut clarity.
Yeah. Well, honestly, what's funny is that's probably wasn't even like that was the thing that they were just kind of like using as a vehicle to get where they really wanted to go, which was sperm taking over the planet.
Yeah. Giant sperm. They're fighting giant sperm, and then you got the formation of the alliance with the Chuts, the half horse people, who Rick has conveniently banged one of their princesses.
Yeah.
And therefore is the father of the heir to the Chut kingdom. Which
he did not know, nor realize, nor
I have an heir? I have a substance abuse problem. It was it was quite the episode, and as wacky as this shit fucking gets ever. Like, it doesn't get much crazier than this in Rick and Morty.
No, it doesn't get much.
About the max.
I was watching this episode for the first time, completely intoxicated, and I was like, I have no idea what's going on.
Giant sperm monsters, man.
I don't know how to process, compute what the point of this plot is, but it's weird. And then I just left it at that, and I was like, well, that was a Rick and Morty episode. Same. And then I go back and watch it again. I think it's actually funny.
Funny as hell.
It's actually funny.
Joke after joke, just hitting. The first time I watched it, I was a little floored by the premise itself.
Yeah, the premise itself is just a lot to kind of digest.
Giant sperm monsters attacking Earth and such. They do a couple little Star Wars references with "You Are My Father" and freezing Rick in
ice
carbonite.
/ carbonite. Yeah, that was pretty funny.
It was pretty. I've never wanted to be taken dead more. Never hated being taken alive more.
Yeah, yeah. That would suck in general, though. I think that they always have a way of escalating these like miniature threats to like global extinction level threats. Yeah. Like,
these are extinction level events that Rick and Morty have to fight off pretty regularly.
Which results in a giant incest baby floating through space.
Yes, it does. This is what happens when you try to make a plan on your own separate from Rick.
Yeah.
A giant incest baby. You know, Rick had this relatively under control.
To be fair, they did not know that the sperm monsters were the creation of Morty. Which is a weird predicament for them to be put in. It was just like...
What if they're Morty's kids, though?
That was probably one of the best scenes I've seen. And they've done this a couple times. They did this in the episode with the... God, I can't remember the alien species name. But the one where it was like they kept... the illusion kept revealing itself where they would like pop up in different like... You know, and then because Rick was in jail, he was getting his brain.
Yeah, that was it was at the Federation, right?
Yeah, the Federation. I think so. Yeah, and
it was like the season 3 premiere.
Yeah, and at the end,
we never left his Shoney's. That one.
yeah. When like Rick is eventually killing everyone, they realize, hey. And he changes, like he topples the entire civilization.
1 to a 0.
1 to a 0. And the guys, the generals are like, "There's one thing that nobody's seeing here." Yeah, and the dude did it again. The sperm scientist who created the giant sperm.
He's like, I know there's an answer to this. See you in hell. Jumps off the ledge.
And I was just like, why is people committing suicide with no other options funny to me?
in the context of Rick and Morty, certainly funny.
It is certainly funny, yeah. But because and literally all it was for, like, he could not have known that he was possibly creating a giant incest baby. But when he realizes that is the logical outcome of this problem, He just is like, fuck it all. I will not be around to experience this or witness this.
I think he was kind of like, well, I've just damned Earth.
But it's not that. It's not that bad. Like, you know, the baby may have some birth defects, but
I don't know. This motherfucker can breathe in space.
I was thinking that too. I was like, so he just casually like.
What happens when that baby grows up, bro? He can just like fly anywhere.
That shit's gonna be like Galacticus, basically.
Oh,
naked Galacticus.
We got a nice new version of Rick and Morty's Galactus in the next episode.
Yeah,
a Mortykin graffiti.
Yeah.
This title is based off the 1973 film American Graffiti, written and directed by George Lucas.
Okay.
The storyline in specific from that movie that applies well to this episode of television is that someone in that movie asked someone to watch over their car. They use that car to impress somebody, which they do in Rick and Morty in this episode.
There are some deep cutters out back there. Like
they're like, okay, what's kind of similar here?
They got some niche like knowledge, like of like just shit.
George Lucas pre-Star Wars movie there.
Yeah, right. Like that's crazy. Like nobody knows about that.
Hardly. And that's what's funny is that like people who have watched American Graffiti are probably also Star Wars fans. Like that's about it.
You've got because most people at this point are probably watching Star Wars and then going and watching
American Graffiti. If that even be the
George
case.
Lucas's old movies. There's probably only a couple people around who like film vets who knew who George Lucas was before he made Star Wars, because he was not at all like a notable director as far as I remember.
No, but what's crazy is the team he was running with. He was like down with Francis Ford Coppola and Steven Spielberg, and all these dudes. So like, he was like around big names before he was a big name himself, which is funny,
right?
But yeah, that's where they got the name. A Mortykin graffiti. They take Rick's car and try to impress the Chuck guy.
The Chuck guy.
You can't. I thought that was interesting. This guy's name was like Chut. His last name was Chut something. The episode after a species named the Chuts.
Yeah.
How do you let that happen?
And then there's another guy named Chet in the episode.
Another guy named Chet in the episode.
I don't know what's up with that name. It could be like a little like joke in the writers' room. I bet about like
probably they're just fucking with us. I mean, they're trying to impress Bruce Chutback.
Bruce Chutback.
That doesn't cut the chut. Bruce Chutback.
I didn't even know what he meant when he said that at first. I was like, "Are you happy?" He said, "What the fuck? What does that even mean?"
The fuck is cutting the chut?
Cutting the chut. Like, shut the fuck up.
This dude's a douchebag. I hate Bruce Chutback. We'll see if you guys cut the chut. Yeah, fuck that guy. The fun storyline for me in this episode is Jerry, Beth, and Rick with the demons who
was pretty
love
funny.
pain because pain brings them pleasure. Embarrassment makes them proud, so on and so forth. That's a fun idea, and a very Rick and Morty thing of them.
Very Rick and Morty thing. Every species you can think of,
and the whole like, I'm sorry I failed you. It makes me embarrassed, which makes me proud. This causes me great pain, which makes me very happy, which brings me pain, which in turn makes me happy again.
They were just trying to confuse you. Like, you're just like, what? Until you just gotta, it's a simple, just anything that hurts, anything that sucks, anything that's ill-spirited.
Cringy.
Is good.
Anything cringy that fuels
them.
I
like how they, like, were thinking, like, let's just do, like, an entire plot essentially around Jerry's cringiness and the novelty of it. Like, how cringy Jerry. Everybody knows Jerry's cringy, but do you understand how cringy he is? Like, an entire species, like, puts him like on a whole nother level of enjoyment because
he is
like,
that
cringy.
It's pretty outstanding.
It is just the depth of the depths to which they will go to land the joke.
I'm trying. I want to go back real quick because another storyline from one of these episodes just occurred to me. I think it was a Rick Convenient Mort where Rick and Summer are going planet to planet, orgy to orgy, and fucking everything that lives.
A Rick Convenient Mort. Yeah.
Yeah. That post-credit scene.
Yeah.
Is mom in the back? Yeah, mom's not talking to us. Oh, because we had gay sex. Happy birthday, Dad.
And the guy's just like, it's just like everyone's back to their fucking terrible, awkward, depressed lives now.
Well, what's funny is everything's even more awkward and depressing because everyone fucked each other.
Yeah.
Everyone fucked.
There's such a way for the Rick and Morty plot to end. Like,
but yeah, I just thought that, I don't know what made me think of that, but something from this last episode really brought that back for me. I thought that was outstanding. But yeah, this episode with Bruce Chutback going on an adventure with Morty and Summer. They visit change formers, which is fun. They ultimately murder all the change formers, a genocide of the change formers.
Don't want to get hit with that Hasbro lawsuit.
Nah, can't actually use transformers or anything like that. That would be a copyright.
I can't believe Transformers literally comes from toys. Like, I think before it was like a cartoon, before it was a comic, it was just random action figures that they made, and like that's why Hasbro owns the fucking movie rights. Like they own the name. Like anytime you see Transformers, it's got a trademark next to it. I think like that just seems familiar. Like Transformers TM.
Yeah, certainly. It's great. That whole genre of like toys making things a big fucking deal.
Yeah.
Is crazy. Like you could argue that's the case for comic book movies.
You could,
for Transformers, and like before it all, Star Wars. Like the movie came out, but what really drove it home was the merchandise sales.
Yeah,
all the action figures and stuff that they sold with.
I feel like that is going to be less and less the case the more that the digital era comes upon us.
It has become less and less.
Yeah, like nobody's like really buying toys and going crazy over that shit. They got fucking YouTube.
Exactly. But yeah, I don't know how that came up. I don't remember.
We were talking about the change formers.
The change formers, correct. The car kills all the change formers. And the
car does kill all the change formers after it tries to have sex with the
one of the change formers. It was like, hey, will you guys help me lose my virginity? And then they're like, how can you have a virginity? And she's like, anything can have a virginity. And
don't all objects have virginity? I think that's what she said.
Yeah, like, doesn't a doorknob have virginity? And Morty's like, not my doorknob. No. Don't fuck my doorknob. Morty will fuck anything.
Goodness Christ. Yeah, no, Morty is definitely made out to be the horny teenager.
He's a horny little
in an adult like show like Rick and Morty is an adult cartoon, like why not have the 14-year-old be horny all the time?
Pretty much. And I mean, you had Summer in episode 3 talking about how she was gonna eat all the puss on the planet.
Yeah,
which was hilarious.
Yeah,
but yeah, of these 3 episodes, I say this 5th one was probably my least favorite.
Okay.
Probably my least favorite of the season so far. It wasn't bad, obviously. Mm-hmm. It's still Rick and Morty. Extraordinarily fun and enjoyable and hilarious. But, it just didn't hit the way these other 2 that we're talking about did.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think I'm between the 5th one and the 3rd one, Rick Convenient Mort. Because that one was good. It just wasn't really... It was just an episode to me. It wasn't super, like... funny per se. It was ironic in a lot of ways, but it wasn't like they were going going for a more serious tone.
Yeah, it was a characterization of Morty more than anything else.
Which is great. Good. Yeah, which is good. It's just like, I come to Rick and Morty to laugh. So
undoubtedly your favorite episode of these 3 is the sperm monsters.
I guess it's going to end up being that one. Yeah. I guess the back half of it was just so funny because there was like a point where you could tell that they had shifted from doing what they had wanted to do, which was starting a war with everyone like between sperm, them and sperm.
Everyone living on Earth versus sperm.
To them resolving it, and the ways that they have to then resolve that issue were just hilarious to me for some reason.
The centuries-long war with the Chuts.
Yeah.
Ultimately ending with Rick's alliance via child.
Yeah.
And, he gets out of that nice and easy.
That was easy.
That was easy. That was easy. That shit was hilarious.
He's like, what was he saying? He was just like talking about like, I'll take care of you.
It's time somebody made an honest man out of me. I'll take care of the baby. I'll do anything you need. It's time. Oh, that's quick. Let's go. All right, we're doing this. Baby's born, just digs a hole into the center of the earth, and he's like, oh, that's just it? We don't have to raise it? Yeah, they're ready to go right out of the box.
Right out of the box.
He's like, oh, all right. Well, see you around. That was easy. What a great fucking scene.
That was pretty funny, yeah.
Nah, yeah. Rick Sanchez, quite the fucking guy. Quite the fucking guy. And I think once you watch Loki, you'll find that we've been introduced to the MCU's equivalent of Rick Sanchez.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
You'll know what I mean once you finish Loki.
Okay. So Loki's how many episodes?
6.
6. That's what I was saying. I was like, that show came and went very quickly.
Yeah, it was an easy watch, and it's a lot lot if you.
Are they hour-long episodes?
Anywhere from like 42 minutes to an hour. You know, like somewhere in that range generally. Yeah. But yeah, overall, very good show. Definitely recommend. And yeah, any last thoughts on these 3 episodes of Rick and Morty?
No. Watch. What was that called? Not Galactus. Genocider. Yeah, that if you haven't watched that, that's dope.
Yeah,
dope
that'll
watch.
be a really touching, fresh view of the characters Rick and Morty for you. It's a fun one for sure. We interrupted this segment itself to get in a little genocider.
I'd do it 10 times out of 10.
10 times out of 10. So shall we move on to Vince Staples?
We shall. I believe.
Let's do it. Fuck it, let's keep going.
All right, fuck it.
Vince Staples, self-titled album. Vince Staples, mostly produced by Kenny Beats.
I think it was completely produced.
Produced by Kenny Beats. Yeah. This was a good album. For me, top 3 so far this year in terms of rap album. Mm-hmm. You know, we got Call Me If You Get Lost, The Off Season, and this. And this is strong for it being as short as it is. Yeah. Very, very good.
Yeah, no, I think it was very good too. It's, I don't know how to, because it's like, you know, when I was reading the Apple Music thing, it was talking a lot about how this is considered to be more of a personal album, hence the, you know, self-titled
Vince
aspect
Staples,
of it.
Yeah.
And I mean, for whatever that's worth, you know, is fine, but I feel like at the same time, Vince Staples' older attempts are a little more like, I don't know, like this sounds a lot. It reminded me a lot of Summertime '06, which is interesting because I feel like that may be the last like raw representation of what Vince Staples' music like.
I'm with you. It was back to
sounds
his
like
bread and butter.
Yeah.
Like I'm a rap about life.
Yeah.
And not this conceptual shit that I was on with like Big Fish Theory and FM. And I mean, Prima Donna was just him flexing the whole time.
Prima Donna was just him flexing. Which honestly, Prima Donna is one of my favorite Vince Staples projects. Nobody likes that project for some reason, but I feel like it's like just so fun. Like,
I remember when that shit dropped. I think we were like, were we seniors?
No, we were like juniors or sophomores. I want to say.
Yeah, I remember when that shit dropped. Though
I do too.
We were the only 2 people who liked it.
Yeah.
We were like, you listen to this? And they were like, fuck that.
Yeah, like Vince Staples. Who's that?
Staples?
Vince who?
I'd like to see this one performed live. Mostly because it'd be a nice quick concert, you know? In and out, 25 minutes.
Do they do that?
No, but that'd be awesome.
Okay.
It's just like, I'm going to come out, perform this album all the way through, and then I'm going to fucking leave. I think that would be the best shit ever.
I would be kind of underwhelmed because, you know, I'd be if I go to a concert and I'm back home within an hour, that's kind of like a.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But can you imagine though? like imagine that the cost reflected that's what the concert would be.
Okay, yeah.
Like it was
$20
like
tickets.
$20 tickets. You show up. You're there for 30 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
He does his whole album and then dips. And you're just like, cool.
Cool.
Yeah.
I got to see Vince Staples about 20 minutes ago.
Yeah, I love that.
That would be fun.
But yeah, I really appreciated this album. And he's got a lot of audacity for coming at us with a 10-song, 22-minute album with not one, but two little
interludes. Yeah. And what's weird is, like, when you go back and look at it, none of his projects have even topped an hour. Like, his last 3 projects have all been, like, 30 minutes or so or less. Like, he's kind of known for that at this point. He's got the
quick, compact style at this point. And you know what? I'm not complaining about it.
Yeah, no, I'm not complaining at all.
I love when you can do that.
I think
and I feel like it was very, very well exemplified that summer of, I think it was 2018, where, you know, Kanye West wrote or produced those, like, 4 albums that were all 7 songs, 30-some minutes. And it was like, have fun.
Right. Like, and that was the point where everybody was like, shorter albums might be better.
Yeah, because you go for a higher win percentage there. Mm-hmm. You got 7 great fucking songs and no misses. Mm-hmm. Where can you go wrong?
People listen to it again, and they're listening to all 7 of the songs versus you put 21 songs on an album.
And they're listening to 7 of those 21 songs.
Yeah, they are, but they're listening to them throughout the album, which means they're not always listening to all of them when they do. But, like, if they're 7 back-to-back bangers, then you're just going to be like, fuck it, play it through. And I got 20 minutes on this car ride. Like,
this Vince Staples album's got some fucking good songs. I mean, it kicks off with Are You With That? And that shit goes up. Mm-hmm. Are you with that? I'm gonna get that. I'm gonna pop out and rap. That shit hype.
That shit is hype.
And it only gets better from there, for my money. Taking Trips, fire. Sundown Town, fire. Fucking Take Me Home, fire. Low Fade, fire.
Mm-hmm. I really enjoyed the back half too. Like, I feel like I like the back half a little more than the.
It's once you get after that first interlude, he really takes off from there, because I think the first one's the apple in the tree.
Yeah.
And then he goes, Take Me Home, Low Fade, Lakewood Mall. But that's 6 through 10 after the apple in the tree. So 6 through 10 also include both the interludes, which is hilarious.
Yeah, which is funny. That is weird, because it's not that I didn't like the first half, but the song did feel a little like
they ran together really easily.
Yeah,
but not in, like, the best way. Mm-hmm. Like, I remember I reference Igor a lot for a good example of songs running together. Like, you were supposed to listen to them in sequence.
Yeah,
these first few, I didn't realize the song had changed, and there also wasn't an extreme change in the beat or vibe in general, you know what I'm saying? So it was like the transition between Sundown Town to The Shining. Mm-hmm. Like, I didn't realize I was listening to 2 separate songs. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So that automatically is a little underwhelming. Not bad.
It's just like, it just feels like a long song, and you don't really want to listen to the same thing for too long.
Yeah, and then really for me, it's that 5 through 10 mark. You got Taking Trips, and Taking Trips is where the album starts to turn a little bit for me. It's like, oh, this shit slaps.
Yeah, I gotta watch the videos. It looked like he had 2 videos out for this album too.
Oh, did he? Let's see that. Let's check out Vince Staples. Let me go to his artist page. I'm sure he has them there. Are You With That? Law of Averages. Yep. Are You With That? And Law of Averages is what he's got for videos.
I definitely like Law of Averages, and just the first 2 songs. Then. Yeah. Which maybe that's why they were the most popular, or maybe he
make the singles. Videos he also released singles.
I think Law of Averages was the only one though. Yeah. That one was like as soon as I listened to that one, I was like, okay, this is good. But yeah, in general, I thought it was just kind of like a detour from his normal sound. But his normal sound, of course, had been super all over the place and not really settled. But while it sounds more like a younger Vince Staples, it also sounds like it sounds like fresh, like refreshing to hear from like this sort of project from Vince Staples.
And it immediately like jumps out to a new start. Like, I remember starting Are You With That and being like, oh, okay. Mm-hmm. This ain't exactly what I was expecting, but I'm down with it. Like, Vince Staples is really good at doing like the brash in your face shit sometimes.
Yeah.
And he's also really good at doing this style shit, which I think we saw more at like his concert.
Yeah.
Like when he opened for Tyler a couple years back. Like this is more where he'd perform that in that style setting.
I can't believe he really performed. What was that song that he performed from Big Fish Theory? That had the dope graphics. It was
I remember he performed a few great songs. I know he performed Offside and like
oh shit, I know that
Sevens.
It was
performed like 777 or something like that.
Alyssa Interlude. That's what he performed. Alyssa Interlude.
Yeah.
Which obviously is an interlude.
I'm in that
745. Of course he was going to do that one. That one was obviously a hit.
Hit around 745.
I still listen to that song sometimes, and I'm like, I feel like this should be a corny song, but it's not for some reason.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, like
Boy,
it's
yeah,
like
right,
what is
yeah,
what
right,
is
yeah, right.
Yeah, right. It's hard. Did he even play Yeah Right?
No, I don't think so, because I think if you like play that without the Kendrick part,
Kendrick, yeah.
Pop, pop, pop to this bacon, pop to the wrist, pop, pop. That shit hard.
I would have just played that shit
like
though. I would have just
4
played
on
the
rotation.
obviously Kendrick is not coming to the Midland with Tyler the Creator and Vince Staples. But just play the track, take a little break up on stage, like Kendrick's verse was hard, bro. I remember listening to that album
For the first time. He doesn't list the feature.
How do you not list Kendrick Lamar?
It's so that when you get to that like morph, like pop, 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 and like he starts his verse, and you're like,
yeah, you're like, oh, Kendrick.
No, that shit was great. That shit was great. That had a lot of good songs though. Crabs in a Bucket went.
Big Fish Theory is probably my favorite, like, Vince project. Like, and just like on Apple Music when he's like or I guess he tweeted when he dropped it, we in 3230 with it, and I was like, y'all really are, because it's like it sounds like some shit I would hear in like what's a futuristic movie? What's the one with the
Blade Runner? Shit.
Yeah.
Is that really what you were thinking of?
Yes.
Wow, look at that.
It's like something I would imagine like you would see at a Blade Runner club, like a club of Blade Runner. Like it's rap music about a century. It's what it'll be about a century from now. Like, how do you even emulate something that doesn't exist? Like,
he did it.
He did it. Like, he did it. Like,
now, Vince Staples deserves more credit for my money. He's one of my favorite rappers, period.
Mm-hmm.
Also, funny as fuck. That dude is hilarious.
No, that dude is.
I feel like we
hilarious.
covered like episode 1 of the Vince Staples show on this podcast at some point. You remember the Vince Staples show?
Oh, shit. I think we did. I can't remember when. I'm just realizing on Apple Music, you can look up artists according to record label. Like at the bottom of Big Fish Theory, there's now a little icon that says record label Def Jam, and you can look at Def Jam, all of the artists.
No shit.
From Def Jam.
That's an interesting little.
And so you can do their top releases, which is all of their best-selling albums. Looks like from just since ever.
Yo, that's dope.
Like, which is dope.
Oh, and that would be on Big Fish Theory, though, right?
Yeah.
Because Vince Staples, that album was not released under Def Jam.
Who was it? Who was
UMG Recordings, Blacksmith Recordings, and Motown.
He must have got out of his contract.
Must have. That might be why we didn't get music from him for 3 years.
That could be, yeah.
Pop like 4 on the 4. I remember, man. Top release is Trip by Jhené Aiko.
I think Migos are on Motown now too.
No shit.
Yeah,
how about the history of Motown?
Motown,
like
yeah,
becoming Migos.
Fucking
Vince
Motown,
Staples?
yeah. Like here, I can actually look up Culture 2 and see if they're on Motown. Motown is the one that needs a fucking tab.
Yeah, no shit.
Not Def Jam. I mean, Def Jam is of course great, but
I mean, yeah, but like, listen to this top 2 here. Trip by Jhené Aiko. Sure, slap. I like Trip by Jhené Aiko. Bobby Tarantino 2, Logic.
Yeah, I saw that and I was like,
top 2 Def Jam all time.
Top. Come on now.
Come on now.
Yeah, no, QC control, like or quality control. They're it looks like they have a like their share the Migos with Motown.
Everybody
Or like maybe
collects.
QC might be a subsidiary of Motown. Like, you know how they have labels under labels? Like Good Music is a label of Universal, I want to say.
Yeah, some shit like
Something
that.
like that. But yeah, they're on
Like
Motown too.
TDE is a subsidiary of Aftermath.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yo, you know, Mixed by Ali.
Yeah.
Like he's on TD and everything. He has the old Aftermath, or not after. What was what was Suge Knight's label? Was that Aftermath?
It was
no, that was
Death Row.
Death Row. He has the old Death Row studio. That's his Mixed by Ali. He said that I was watching a podcast with him, or not watching. Well, I guess I was watching a podcast for some reason. I was watching it instead of just listening.
Always an interesting choice.
Always an interesting choice. Because sometimes I just I didn't know what Mixed by Ali looked like, or like what his manner.
And certainly, like sometimes you need to put the face with the voice.
Yeah, right.
Sure.
Because he's like J. Cole, or not J. Cole. Kendrick Lamar is like soul DJ. Like he travels around with him, and like he's
You come from Kenny.
He broke down like the specifics of like engineering versus mastering versus like producing, I want to say, or something like that. But yeah, he's like his like set engineer or something, and he does a whole bunch of other artists. But yeah, he was talking about how he didn't want a studio, and then his like agent or something was like, okay, that's great and all, but I got like the old like Death Row Studios, and he was like, oh, you should have just led with that. Yeah, I want it. Like, yeah. But I'm like, that's actually dope as fuck. Because it's like this next generation of California hip hop, like, is being inherited. And it's just
epic.
so, that's just like
That
such a dope thing to do.
Another, I mean, like, since we're here, Vince Staples, also California.
Also California. Yeah.
Same as Snoop Dogg, which, like, wild. Like,
Wow.
Vince Staples is, like, he certainly has a West Coast influence, obviously.
Yeah.
Specifically in his voice. Like, that flow is West Coast through and through, but he's not afraid to mix it up with the production.
Right, because it's like, and what's cool about it is, like, I think that, like, if you go listen to YG or J-Rock or Snoop Dogg, like, Vince Staples is so different from all of them, from any other Western artist right now. It's almost as if you wouldn't even know that he was from Long Beach, you know? Yeah. And it's like he's still, like, very respected by all those artists, and he's still in the, like, got like a very accurate representation of California in his music. Absolutely. Even though it's drastically different in the way that the other big name artists from that area kind of depict it. He's like an oddball, but at the same time, like, he's not.
Nah, I get what you're saying. Like, he's an odd man out in terms of like West Coast rap. Yeah, I'd say. Just because,
like, YG's not making a Big Fish theory, like J-Rock is, but like, honestly, I probably like that as a project more than, and like as a conceptual attempt more than I like anything that J-Rock has ever done. Yeah.
I mean, Redemption was gas though.
Redemption was gas.
That was like
this deep in his career too, because Mixed by Ali was talking about it too, like in the podcast. It was a really good podcast. He was talking about just like how Schoolboy Q gets introduced to like the whole crew and everything, and this is at a time where they're all sleeping at like Top Dog, like in Top Dog's basement, like recording music at his house, like just like it's like a band of people with nowhere else to go that are just making music. And he's like, yeah, it ended up where I fucked some shit up, and I just, I didn't have anywhere to go. I got kicked out. And they brought me in. They're just like, all right. And like, he's just sleeping on the floor next to Kendrick Lamar. Like, yeah. And he was talking about like what TDE was at that time. And he's like, J-Rock was like the one. Like, he was like the one who like legitimized everything we were doing, because J-Rock was so huge in the area, and like he was easily the biggest rapper on their roster. And to think how that's like changed, like drastic. Like, don't get me wrong, J-Rock is still one of the elders of TDE,
and I'll listen to his shit as soon as it drops every time.
But if you ask the average person who, I guess not the average person who listens to TDE, because if you listen to TDE, you know about J-Rock, but the average person who knows about Kendrick Lamar being signed to TDE, if you ask them who J-Rock is, they probably won't be able to tell you who he is, or that he has been on TDE the longest. Like, yeah, that's insane.
No, yeah, it's an ever-changing tapestry.
An ever-changing tapestry, yeah. TDE versus Dreamville,
we come back to this every 6 months or so.
We do.
It was an early topic.
We do.
On one of our early episodes.
Did we do an episode or a segment about it?
Oh yeah,
I feel like
we've done a couple. I think here it's actually in the episode description of one of our early episodes. I'm gonna go look for it now, just for funsies.
Just for funsies.
So we had Keanu Reeves' Rick and Morty, where we did a Rick and Morty episode breakdown. We talked about our best concert experiences, so this was immediately post Tyler the Creator. So weirdly enough, we have talked about Vince Staples and Rick and Morty in the same episode before.
It all comes full circle.
It all comes full circle. And also in the episode where we birthed our love for Keanu Reeves, the decade's best albums. Let's see. Oh, episode 2, You Gotta Create a Feeling.
That was...
This discussion led to a new one about the futures of Dreamville and Top Dog Entertainment.
That makes sense that we would talk about this early. It's a pretty... It's been...
I was like, I'm pretty sure this is one of the first things we ever talked about.
Yeah, right, which is crazy. But, yeah, no, I mean, that makes sense. Like, it's a good question, I think. It's a very compelling question.
And we're just because of the sheer prominence of Dreamville the last couple of years and the nowhere to be seen seemingly aspect of TDE, recency bias would lead you to go probably Dreamville.
Yeah, honestly, like Dreamville has been like, I don't know, I feel like they're more willing to cater to their fans than TDE is. But also that makes TDE feel more exclusive. But then also, like, you got to think, like, industry success, TDE's got them.
Oh, I mean, JID, Boz, they be on Twitter talking to people. You know
exactly. You don't see that shit with any of
Zay or J-Rock or Absol.
They're all so famous, though. Like, they're all, like, Schoolboy Q, SZA, Kendrick Lamar, who else? Those are probably the most recognizable ones. I guess I'm
Kendrick Lamar and SZA in particular.
Yeah, Kendrick Lamar and SZA.
But Ari Lennox is over there.
No, that's Dreamville. That's Dreamville. They also have Sir, and then Zachary, Lance Skywalker, Isaiah Rashad, and
J-Rock, Absol.
That's who I was forgetting. Absol's huge too. He's probably up there with Schoolboy Q, Kendrick, and SZA.
I'd say he's like a tier below.
Yeah, like that's the thing, which is the weird thing, because I think like Isaiah Rashad makes some of the best music. Bro, I see he's got to drop that motherfucking album.
He's just got to drop the album, and he will. Did you see it's announced?
Yeah, there's 10 days. There's a date.
10 days from now. It's the end of July.
Bet.
The house is burning.
The house is burning.
We'll certainly be talking about that on the
house is burning.
And we'll be doing that with the Rick and Morty episode, apparently, because they're just going to run right through the shit. So
okay.
Which is hype.
Yeah, that is dope. That is very dope. The house is burning. What did it say? It was whiskey with bourbon soaked baptismal hymns or something.
Yeah, baptismal. Bourbon soaked baptismal is what I think it was.
That's a sentence right there.
That's a sentence right there.
Bourbon. I don't think I've even had bourbon.
Bourbon kind of, I mean, like, you gotta like dark liquor first.
Yeah.
Which is a tall order.
That is a tall order. I won't even say I like dark liquor. I've drank it enough times to know how it will affect me and that I need to be careful.
That's typically
like, bro.
That's typically the general consensus.
My cousin drinks straight Crown. Like every weekend, they just Crown. And so sometimes I'll take a couple drinks and I'll take like 2 or 3 shots of Crown, and I'm like, I'm fucked up. Like, yo, what is this? Why is this Crown?
You ever had Hennessy?
Once.
I have too. And I was like, oh.
Yeah. But that put the hair on your chest,
I mean, and don't get me wrong, like it was solid.
I think people drink.
It's not like
people
one I'll
drink
casually drink.
People drink Hennessy because Hennessy and Crown are basically the same thing. Hennessy is just the expensive version of Crown, but I feel like people drink both of those just
to drink
one of those. Yeah, like I'm like there you. I don't know. I don't know about whiskey though. I'm just not. I think I've reserved myself to not being a whiskey, not really ever becoming a whiskey person.
At least not whiskey straight. Like,
yeah.
Whiskey straight is just disgusting.
It is. But there's such an aesthetic to it.
Oh, absolutely.
Because everyone in every movie ever has the fucking whiskey shit.
Whiskey
like,
on rocks.
Yeah, whiskey on rocks. And you're just like, that sounds like a classic drink.
You know,
Tastes like shit.
That's why the only drink from a movie I'll ever take is the White Russian, the Big Lebowski.
Oh, yeah.
Strongly recommend.
Okay.
That's quite the Caucasian, Jackie. That's a line from the movie.
Yeah,
I like the movie.
It's in the Big Lebowski.
The Big Lebowski. Jeff Bridges. Hell of a guy. But yeah, shit, man. You got anything else? Anything else you want to talk about? We're at an hour now.
Oh, shit. Are we? Look at that.
Look at that. I think we might be able to just get the fuck out of here. What do you say?
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah, all right. This is the 122nd episode of the Penny Bloom podcast. I was Colton Robertson. I was joined by Tavarus Pennington. Thank you very much, buddy.
Hola.
Adios, even. Perhaps. Maybe.
I don't know why I had the urge to say that right there.
Hola.
That just felt like the response that I should offer.
It felt appropriate in the moment. But yeah, head to patreon.com/CoroBloom where you'll find over 15 hours of exclusive content at this point. Some art pieces that won't be found anywhere else, made by me. Head to twitter.com. Follow at PennyBloomPod. We're almost at 100, which hasn't happened in a while. We've really shot up in follower count the last few months, which has been nice. Follow on Instagram at PennyBloomPodcast. Come back every Tuesday if you're a Star Wars fan for episodes covering the Bad Batch. Loki just ended, so run back through that catalog if you're interested.
A lot of shit going on.
Yeah. But now that Loki's over, it's just back to this and the Bad Batch, man.
Yeah.
That's that.
Yeah, pretty much.
Let's do it, though. Remember, peace, love, and bloom. And always praise Keanu Reeves.